Cameras are so common nowadays, plus the added tool of photo manipulation, that there are many creepy images floating around. However, the fact that there are many creepy vintage images is something that shocked me when I found them. So here's 13 of some of the creepiest old images taken. So many questions pop to mind when you first see this image. Is that a line of women wearing masks covering most of their face? Why do the masks have such a weird shape? Why are they all wearing one? Why are they all looking at me weird? Well, this is another picture from around the 1930s. In this picture, these women are in a Miss Lovely Eyes pageant in Florida. These masks were designed so that the judges only scored them on their eyes. However, without context, it comes across as really creepy. And even with context, it still has a creep factor. This picture looks like a scene from a mental institution, and if you thought that, I won't laugh at you for being wrong. The one thing that really throws me off is the one on the right with no arms. I mean, that's just weird. And when you look closer, you can see the second from the right has no hands. This image is actually of melted and damaged mannequins after a fire broke out at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London around the 1930s. I don't even have to introduce this one to tell you how creepy it is. It looks like the horror version of the $6 Million Man. What's actually going on here is these two people are building and fixing a Disney animatronic. Through some research, I found this other image of a more complete product being personally inspected by Walt Disney himself, which I thought was pretty neat. Is what I call this one. I don't think there's a name for it. I can't seem to find much information on it at all. Do bird people exist? Or possibly exist and have been made extinct? Well, no. This picture is of two women wearing bird headdresses, but why they're doing this is an anomaly to me. Nowadays, freckles are seen as cute, but for some reason in older times, they were sometimes seen as a blemish that could be treated. This picture is an odd anti-freckle treatment from the 1930s. At the time, this was probably normal, but now it looks creepy as hell. Also, people with freckles, you're beautiful. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Wink. I don't like it. This is an example of how creepy Halloween masks were in the 1900s. None of those commercial Freddy Krueger masks and cute outfits for the little ones. These kids are rocking some hardcore nightmare fuel. If you merely mention the subject of old silent films, guaranteed one of the first things that pops into people's heads is the classic Nosferatu movie from 1922. This picture is a behind-the-scenes snapshot of Max Schreck relaxing between takes in makeup. The lighting and camera quality, plus the ominous look Max gives, creates an amazing creepy photo that is timeless. There's always been a strange emphasis on education and forcibly improving through strange means, and the Isolator is not an exception. This weird piece of tech is designed to shut out all sound while pumping oxygen through the mask. The eyes only had slits so you could focus on the lines you're reading. If the strange forced education doesn't scare you, the appearance will. It looks terrifying. Remember in the movie 300 when Gerard Butler's character Leonidas screams, "Tonight we dine in hell"? Well, this is where I imagine them going. This is a cafe called Hell's Cafe in Paris. As you imagine, it didn't stay open forever. And I wonder why. Maybe it's because there's demons staring at you while you sip your fancy coffee. I'm not mad though. This cafe has produced an amazing creepy vintage picture that has lasted this long. At first glance, this picture looks like a girl smuggling a smaller sibling under a dress, and you could leave believing that, but I'm going to tell you what it really is. This is a girl born in 1868 with the rare dipigus, which means being born with an extra pelvis. So those extra pair of legs also belong to her. Amazingly though, she lived to the age of 60 and raised 5 children. I'm actually very happy hearing that. This is a rather creepy image of a lot of kids wearing gas masks. There's something about gas masks that are just so ominous. Well, in this image, I believe it is a large group of kids training to put on their masks in case of emergency due to the war. You always hear what life was like back then from many history lessons, but it's so interesting seeing things in action. Still though, it looks creepy. This image has a rather interesting history to it. Among the Kwakawakawak of the Pacific Northwest, the Hamatsa were a society of tribal elite. Young men who hoped to become Hamatsa went through a lengthy period of isolation. Shortly before the end of his exile, each initiate had been brought a mummy that had been soaked in salt water, cleaned and split open. The initiate was expected to smoke cure the bound corpse for the final ritual. During the ritual, the aspiring Hamatsa and the senior members of the Brotherhood allegedly devoured portions of the corpse. Some say he looks directly into your soul, and that's not a mask. I'm kidding, this picture was taken during an anti-Vietnam War, something a lot of people wish succeeded now, I guess. The mask was never intended to be creepy, but the timing of the photograph and the oddly high detail due to the hard lighting just brings out the creep factor for this one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's list, and if you did, leave a like. And if you want to see another photograph list, click here for my 10 unexplained mysterious photographs.